Northumbria Police. If you have a touch-tone phone...
It's Mr. Moat. I have had a lot of trouble with police officers from this station. There have been about 8 cameras on the property hidden in hedges and everything. I would like to have a psychiatrist, psychologist, have a word with me regularly on a regular basis. It's a cop I've got 12 years with a bad history, he's arrested us. Can they just have my life?
You're killing people. Who's killing people? What? Who's killing people? No.
Northumbria Police are searching for a suspect after a man was shot dead early today.
Police believe the man responsible is Raoul Moat.
He blames the police for breaking up his family and warned of more bloodshed.
You police have took too much off me over the years.
He had this deep-seated hatred of Northumbria Police.
Now you think you can take your missus?
He believed he was harassed by the police.
I want, I'm going to kill.
Raoul Moat is now wanted for the attempted murder of a policeman.
Are you taking me serious now?
The threat level to all of our staff was through the roof.
Move back! Keep moving, please!
It became almost like a soap opera.
Murray, it's Gaza. He will not shoot me.
He's still out there somewhere, in and around the small market town of Rothbury.
The risk was huge, absolutely huge.
Where is he? Has he lured us into this location?
This must stop now.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to keep coming for you. You're going to have to kill me. But I'm never going to stop.
10 years ago, I was a specialist tactical firearms commander. It was a great place to work. It was like a big family, about 3,500, 4,000 officers at that time. Like every metropolitan city and areas, we have significant organised crime groups. Raoul Moat's relationship with a well-known crime family in Newcastle was based around being a trusted enforcer who had been engaged by that family for a long period of time. He helped them distribute drugs across nightclubs and pubs across Tyneside. If there was retribution to be meted out to rivals or whatever, he would do that.
At the time, I was a detective inspector on the major investigation team. Raoul Moat was known to the police. He'd been involved in incidents of violence, and particularly domestic-related violence.
In 2004, Raoul Moat's life changed. He was working as a doorman when he met teenager Samantha Stobbart.
Samantha Stobbart was quite a lot younger than him. They'd been in a relationship for about 6 years, since she was 16 years old, and they had a young child together. It was a very volatile relationship.
Moat also had 2 children from another woman. Both were on the child protection register, but despite concerns for their safety, they'd been living with him and Samantha for 4 years.
I was a detective chief superintendent. Because of his actions with his children, he had a history of involvement with social services and the police.
He felt victimised by both. Moat began secretly recording all his dealings with them.
There's cameras everywhere. To be honest with you, it was to do with use.
Special notes, social services.
He didn't like the police. He believed he was harassed by the police.
I want to know why these people are going all out to get me. They cannot stop me. If I got shot in the middle of the night, right, then I would get arrested for it.
He'd been arrested several times, but quite unusually, had never been charged. And he was only charged with the final offence, which is the assault on his daughter.
Moat had denied hitting the 9-year-old, but he was convicted and sent to Durham prison for 18 weeks.
It was then that Sam Stobbart, his partner of 6 years, decided that their relationship was over.
While Moat was in prison, Samantha had met Christopher Brown. a 29-year-old karate instructor who'd moved to Tyneside from Slough. They started dating, and after a week, Samantha decided to break the news to Moat.
She told him that she met somebody else and that he was a police officer and that their relationship was over.
But Christopher was not a police officer. Terrified of Moat, Samantha had said this to try and make him stay away.
He was well and truly angered by the news.
Christopher was an everyday lad.
He thought pretty much life was just a bit of a roller coaster, really, and ride with it, if you like. I can remember a friend of his was living up in Newcastle, and the friend had said, come up, see how you go, telling him the nightlife was amazing, so that sold it straight away.
Life was fun. He was enjoying himself. He was teaching and just having a really good time.
Moat was enraged by the thought of Samantha seeing a policeman. He began plotting how he'd carry out his revenge when he was released in a matter of days.
He started making calls to his associates, planning what he was intending to do.
He asked his friend Carl Ness to source a firearm for his release.
Ness was a known criminal and a good friend of Moat's.
He was collected from prison. He then met up with Carl Ness, and the planning started to try and locate Christopher.
The minute he was out of prison, Moat gathered the supplies he needed to take his revenge. First on the list, a sawn-off shotgun. He placed lead fishing weights into each cartridge. This was going to be a devastating weapon.
Samantha had now moved out of Moat's house and was back living with her parents in Birtley.
That evening, Samantha and Christopher had plans. They were going out socialising in Gateshead, a few miles from her hometown of Birtley. They ended up at friends who were neighbours of her parents.
In the early hours, Carl Ness drove him to Birtley in a stolen white Transit. As Ness waited in the van, Moat went looking for Samantha and Christopher, armed with the sawn-off shotgun.
He located them in the neighbour's house where they were all sitting, chatting and socialising.
Moat was sat outside the premises right under the front window, and he sat there for over an hour.
He could hear every word they were saying.
They were talking about him and laughing about him.
And at one stage, he actually texts Ness and says, I'm going to kick off real and proper.
Christopher and Samantha left the house, walked along the short path to the gate where they were confronted by Moat, armed with the shotgun.
Moat shot him twice.
Around the corner, Carl Ness heard the blasts and drove off.
Samantha and her neighbours had ran back in, screaming, hysterically, panicking. Moat reloaded the 2 barrels of the shotgun and shot a 3rd cartridge into the back of his head at point-blank range.
It was an execution.
I need you to calm down. Hurry up, he's killing people. He's killing people. Who's killing people? Who's killing people? No.
And then Moat pointed the gun through the window and shot Samantha. She was hit in the abdomen.
She also went down but managed to get herself out of view in the kitchen.
Moat fled on foot, hailing down a taxi before disappearing into the Newcastle underworld.
Good morning. Northumbria police are searching for a suspect after a man was shot dead early today. A woman is also believed to have been shot and is in a critical condition in hospital.
That morning, when we did the calls to the police control rooms, they mentioned that there'd been a shooting in Berkeley. They had the green area in front of the house taped off with police tape.
I heard the screaming, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. Then I heard a gunshot.
We were going to a birthday party that afternoon on the estate where we live, and the police pulled up. And as they've got out of the car, we said, oh, God, you know, someone's in trouble. And, of course, then they've come over to us and asked for me. Well, that was it. That's when the ground opened, basically.
I told them that they got it wrong, they need to go double-check. And it wasn't until they'd mentioned his tattoo that he had on his shoulder. That's when reality kicked him. Horrendous.
I really can't remember much after that. It was just a blur.
The assumption was, at that time, that this would be over quite quickly because Raoul would turn the gun on himself. I think that's what a lot of people assumed. No one knew where he was, and no one knew if he was still close by.
He was clearly an incredibly dangerous man, given his state of mind.
Our concern was that he was armed, he was angry, he was extremely dangerous.
The absolute priority of Northumbria Police from that point on was to locate and deal with Moat and neutralise the threat.
"22 hours after the shootings in Berkeley, Moat calls Northumbria Police.
This is the gunman from Berkeley last night. My name is Raoul Moat. Now, my girlfriend, she's had an affair with one of your officers. Was he not a police officer, I wouldn't have shot him. You police have took too much off me over the years. Now you think you can take your missus. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not coming in alive. Hey, come anywhere near me and I'll kill you. I've got 2 hostages at the minute, right? Come anywhere near me and I'll kill them as well. I'm coming to get you. I'm not on the run. I am coming to get you.
Raoul Moat had shot his ex-girlfriend Samantha Stobbart and killed Christopher Brown because he thought he was a policeman. He was out for revenge. Any officer in his sights was now a target.
At the time, I was a sergeant within the police. That night, I travelled with another officer in a unmarked car. There was just the 2 of us. Literally, as I got to the junction with the A1, that's when I heard the radio transmission from David.
Is it Tango 190? I'll reach you. Just should I go somebody to reach you? I want, I'll reach you.
I looked at my colleague and I said, did you hear that also? Got to the vehicle, and that's when obviously we saw David within the driver's side of the vehicle with significant facial injuries.
And of course, he then made that second phone call to the police, basically saying, I've done it.
Are you taking me serious now? I've just downed your officer at the roundabout at the west end of Newcastle.
Yes.
Yeah? Well, I'm going to destroy a few lives like you've destroyed mine. I'm going to keep coming for you. You're going to have to kill me.
Right.
And I'm never going to stop.
Moat was taunting the police, wrapped up in his own paranoia. For years, he believed they were out to get him. And now, he was out to get them. The shooting of David Rathband was a declaration of war, and now the life of every police officer in Northumbria was at risk.
Dave Rathband was one of my officers. I'd worked with him, I'd spoke to him, and when it happens to somebody you know, it's hard to describe how you feel about it.
It sent shockwaves through the force. The threat level to all of our staff was through the roof. Until Moat was located and dealt with, they were potentially sitting ducks. And it was at that point that Steve Ashman took over as Gold Command.
I was Assistant Chief Constable in Northumbria Police. We know he's capable because he's shot 3 people, he's killed 1, and he's seriously injured 2 others. And he has a very, very clearly stated intention, and that intention is to carry on killing.
Good morning. Detectives are linking an unprovoked gun attack on a police officer with their hunt for the suspected gunman Raoul Thomas Moat.
The shootings were now headline news nationwide. Northumbria Police's hunt for Moat was in the media spotlight.
The Sunday was the day that we had the first big press conference. The country woke up to what a big story this was.
For those times where the press conferences were live, I would be the voice of Northumbria Police along with the Chief Constable. You have told us that the police are not taking you seriously. I can assure you, we are.
You've got to get up and running as fast as you can.
Every armed officer from the force is now on duty.
You literally throw everything that you've got at it.
Police are targeting areas in raids where Moat could be hiding out, and investigations focus on those that know him.
So we're basically loading the dice and trying to do something like that, hoping that one of them will lead us to him or he will arrive at one of those locations.
The police say they know some people in the area are harbouring Raoul Moat and they think they know who they are.
We carried out some fairly significant firearms tactics on individuals walking along the road who weren't Moat.
By now, the police had a clear intelligence picture of Moat's network of family and friends, addresses all across Newcastle where he could lay low.
But there was no sign of Moat. He'd gone to ground. Then, in the early hours, police received a 49-page letter written by Moat. In it, he outlined why he'd shot Christopher Brown, Samantha Stobbart, and PC Rathband.
We have received a lengthy written communication purporting to be from Mr. Moat, which outlines in some detail a wide range of concerns that he has.
Last night, I called 999 and declared war on Northumbria Police.
He went on, "The public need not fear me, but the police should, as I won't stop till I'm dead."
The press conference was absolutely shocking on the Monday. At that point, I think everybody realised that this was a situation that was very different from how they'd thought it was going to be.
Northumbria Police have drafted in extra support from surrounding forces. The public is being warned not to approach him.
By now, Northumbria detectives had CCTV footage showing Moat before the shootings with 2 men, Carl Ness and another friend, Kurum Awan. Moat had claimed they were his hostages and that he was prepared to kill them. But Awan had written to his family, telling them they didn't need to worry.
Later on, we'll become aware of the Lexus, and there's some footage from David's car which shows the Lexus driving around the roundabout with 2 individuals, Awan and Ness.
They didn't look like hostages to the police. Instead, it appeared they were scouting PC Rathband's car before he was attacked.
The police have said they want to trace a distinctive black Lexus car with the registration V322HKX.
On the Tuesday morning, we became aware from a call from a member of the public that the vehicle had been sighted parked up. The first thing I did was implement a covert surveillance operation on that vehicle. And at that time, we also then become aware of the tent, which is pitched probably about 100 to 150 yards away from the Lexus.
It looked as though Moat had set up camp in a field not far from the Lexus. His two supposed hostages were with him.
I was absolutely certain that the people from that car were in that tent. I gave the instruction for uniformed armed officers to move on that tent. This is fast, 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 fast. It has to happen now. And at the same time, I'd also put the police helicopter up. And as we were beginning to move, that's when two people emerged from the tent and started to walk away.
On hearing the activity of the police approaching, they've obviously thought the time's come to run.
There's three scenarios to me. One of the two is Raoul Moat. Second scenario is Raoul Moat, if he's not there, is in the tent. Or the third scenario is Raoul Moat isn't there and they're going to meet him. The two people who were on foot were my primary concern. We've got their car, they've got no transport.
With armed officers on the ground, the operation was run through Northumbria Police's headquarters in Newcastle.
So you're standing there in the control room, we're watching a large screen, and we're thinking, this is it.
There were 6 cars in the convoy. We're travelling at speed to get there. We wanted us to carry out a fairly overt arrest, very dynamic arrest. The radio transmissions I'm now getting are from the helicopter, and they are talking about the individuals walking and where they are.
Junction by junction, minute by minute, to say we're 3 minutes away, 2 minutes away, 1 minute away.
We go from a situation where you can hardly hear yourself think because of the 50, 60 people in the control room to absolute silence. And that absolute silence happens because I shout across the room to everybody, armed operation in place, everyone shut up.
So we're aware that as we came around the next bend, the two individuals were going to be there. I'd instructed the officer on the command of strike that he would deploy the distraction device.
Yes, main name to the cars on the 6344, just round the next bend on your right.
At that time, I thought one of those two people was Raoul Moat.
Very, very quickly, we were aware that Moat wasn't there.
If Moat wasn't with the two men on the road, it was possible he was still in the tent, shotgun in hand, lying in wait for officers. Another armed team was placed on standby to move in.
I then give the instruction to go and clear the tent.
Officers, we are at the Lexus. Can you move directly to the tent and contain it? Is that received? Over. Car frame received.
But the tent was empty. Britain's most wanted man was nowhere to be found.
I believe my main moat was watching this. It became, for us, very, very important to locate and arrest Moat as soon as possible.
There's an ongoing police operation in Rothbury. People there are being advised to stay indoors.
I can confirm that both men are the people we believe were the hostages. Both are currently in police custody.
Moat's accomplices have been caught, but he's still on the run, armed and extremely dangerous.
A man murdered, a woman critically injured, and a policeman blinded. And at the centre of it all, a gunman with a sawn-off shotgun threatening to kill. Raoul Moat had to be stopped, and quickly.
But with Rothbury in the centre of rural Northumberland, he could be hiding anywhere.
There's so many places to hide. He used to go camping there. He also used to go shooting and rabbiting. So he knows the area really well.
Early afternoon, we got to Rothbury, and it was a scene that I'd never witnessed on British streets.
The police are here to protect you.
Do not leave your homes, lock your doors, close your windows, clear the streets. It was a most incredible sight.
There is a real feeling of concern here because Raoul Moat was said to have been seen just a few hundred yards behind me.
We had the road closures in place. We had armed checkpoints. There was a ring of steel around Rothbury.
With the police believing Moat was still in the area, a 2-mile exclusion zone was put in place. The town was locked down.
It's a very good morning to you. Still on the run, despite a massive police manhunt, Raoul Moat remains at large.
With no sign of Moat, officers focused on the evidence they found at the campsite on the outskirts of Rothbury.
From that tent, we recovered several items of invaluable evidence. The biggest piece of evidence was a dictaphone.
There was threats to individual police officers. There was a clear vendetta against Northumbria Police.
A small paragraph in the middle of those ramblings was a comment from Moat to say that he was sick of the sleazy lies that he was reading about himself and his family and his relationships in some of the national newspapers. And he says the rules have changed.
The next lie I see in the paper, I'm going to kill him as a member of the public. But every lie I see in that paper, any paper, I'm going to kill him as a member of the public.
The risk went literally through the roof.
More and more resources were needed in Northumbria to catch Moat, including covert firearms officers from other forces.
I was a superintendent and I was a tactical firearms commander. It was on Wednesday the 7th that the call came through to me to say, actually there's a need to support command up in Northumbria with the more covert function around this whole operation.
And other help was also arriving from across the UK.
Today, 40 armed officers from the Met Police, along with armoured vehicles from Northern Ireland, arrived at police headquarters.
When the 40-plus officers from Metropolitan Police arrived, it was unbelievable in terms of the numbers of firearms officers we had in that area.
Hello there. I was here to check your car, if you don't mind.
The concern that I had was in relation to information that a crime family from Newcastle that Mo had worked for before for a number of years. We are actively trying to support him, had smuggled in a rifle and other weapons to him.
And then you add into that intelligence comes in that he has access to homemade explosives. We've got an added complexity there.
My thinking was, if you're Raoul Moat, what would you do? You would probably go to a location that you knew and you felt familiar with and you felt comfortable in.
One of the pieces of information that we had was about a possible location. It was a hide, it was like a poacher's hide.
The source of that information was somebody in prison. So we contacted the governor. The governor very quickly agreed once he understood the circumstances. So we basically put him in a car and got him up to Rothbury as quickly as possible.
The police are being helped by a known associate of this man who, wearing a flak jacket, is now taking them to places where he knows Raoul Moat visited in the past.
Within the hide is potentially more with guns and homemade explosives.
The risk was huge, absolutely huge.
We want the element of surprise. We want the element of speed. We had none of that.
It's almost an ambush, if you like, of those officers. Me personally, I am becoming really quite anxious because that's the moment of extreme threat.
We did end up on the river in Rothbury in a location where clearly there had been a structure.
We found it. No more Raoul Moat in there, though.
The police helicopter searched into the night, a signal to all for miles around that the fugitive is still free. They need to get to him before he gets to anyone else.
People were very aware that there was a killer in their midst and that actually he was roaming free somewhere near where they were trying to live their lives. And there was a huge, huge amount of pressure on the police forces trying to apprehend him as the days went on.
He's told us he wants to kill more police officers, and he's told us he's going to kill innocent members of the public. A very important part of this is reassure the people who live in Rothbury that, you know, we're not going to let them down. We're going to do everything we possibly can to protect them, and we will find him.
A packed public meeting in Rothbury reflected the level of concern following a day in which police revealed that gunman Raoul Moat's tactics may be changing.
What we've said is that there is an increasing position where we think he may be more of a threat to the wider community. That is anywhere.
There are an extremely large number of armed and unarmed officers on the streets to protect and reassure you, the public.
Well, it's alarming.
It was quite anxiety-provoking, if I was to be honest.
I think there was a feeling that some people at some stages were getting frustrated. Why haven't you caught him? You know, he's only hiding in some trees or whatever, without understanding or appreciating the size and scale of the land around Rothbury. So it was a real palpable feel of pressure, non-stop pressure.
Extra help was also coming from the military and survival expert Ray Mears, a man whose tracking skills would help close the net on Moat.
We brought him into headquarters. We brought him in on the floor of a blacked-out vehicle.
An RAF Tornado with surveillance equipment, now augmenting a manhunt involving 14 police forces.
The military offered us some aerial photography where they can take high-resolution photographs of the area that we're trying to search.
We were using everything we could possibly think of and every capability that we could bring to bear to locate this individual.
What changed at this point now was the sightings. Everybody was seeing him, every shadow was now Moat.
We just finished news at 10 on the Thursday night, and I was just heading up the road to get in my car. And as I was walking up the road, I saw this very tall guy walking towards me. It was just the two of us as we came towards each other. And I thought, oh gosh, he looks really like Raoul Moat. He must have had a really awful week. And then he came closer and closer, and I started thinking, no, that is Raoul Moat. And he's walking towards me on this road. There's only me and him. I immediately rang to a colleague who was with the police just a little bit further down the hill. Couldn't get through to them, and Raoul Moat walked straight past them and disappeared.
It was the break the police needed. They now knew that the most wanted man in Britain was still trapped somewhere inside their cordon.
It was clear that we were very close to Raoul Moat and that he was in the very close proximity of that dense, really unmanaged woodland around Rothbury.
Intensive searching continued all night, with the police chopper assisting teams on the ground who focused their attention near the river in the village.
The Friday was a really strange day because I'd seen him the night before. I'd spent the morning at the police station going through what I'd seen, and it all seemed to have gone incredibly quiet.
Talk about your call of duty then, what you were talking about.
But in the background, a major covert operation was about to begin. Ray Mears and the RAF's aerial photography had pinpointed an area of woodland just outside Rothbury where Moat could be laying low.
You know, we were of the belief that he was potentially sleeping during the days, and he would be awake at night, and he would start to fall asleep probably as the sun would come up, maybe at about 4 o'clock in the morning. And so the plan was to wake him up shortly after that when he's at his most fatigued.
So I was in a room with around 40 to 50 different experts and looking at the challenge of this enormous unmanaged woodland. How do we now build a plan that sees us proactively going to the woodlands to try and find him?
If we got him moving, try and then track him as he moved and flush him through that area.
Heavily armed, specially trained officers were now preparing to go into the woods, authorised to use lethal force if needed. But back in Rothbury, Moat was about to surprise everyone.
keep moving for their own safety?
Can you come back for your own safety, please?
Move back, in a line. Keep moving, please.
The cordon's being moved away from our initial vantage point here for everybody's safety.
He was by the side of the river. You've got him.
Britain's biggest manhunt for many years appears to be drawing to a dramatic conclusion here.
Police are, as we speak, in a confrontation situation with the suspect.
He's lying down in long grass, apparently threatening to kill himself with a gun aimed at his head.
This wasn't just a random walk down the street. This was, they're getting very close to me, the game's up, I've had enough, and he came in and gave himself up.
The way everybody reacts in the control room when Moat is spotted is disbelief that it's him.
The police negotiator is talking to Raoul Moat.
Listen to me, Raoul. Ignore them. You're the most important thing in this.
I heard Moat say, no, I haven't got a dad or something, and nobody cares about me.
His spirit was broken, he hadn't been eating properly, he hadn't been sleeping.
Word, he looked grubby and as if he didn't know what to do with himself.
We understand that he had a sawn-off shotgun. The police weren't sure what else he had, but he had at least a sawn-off shotgun.
We had the intelligence saying he's got explosives. He's hidden bombs around that area. He's perhaps wearing body armour. You can't dismiss those. Now we've got to look at how do we bring him into custody safely.
Moat at one stage said, listen, you're not taking me into custody. I'm not spending the rest of my life in a white box, in a cell, and you're not shooting me.
It might come as a surprise to some. He has the right to life. I was offered a piece of technology, a piece of equipment that was undergoing tests at the time, an X-rep taser that can temporarily disable, in the same way that a conventional taser does. It can disable somebody, and that might allow us to close in and detain him without recourse to lethal force.
If the officer believes that he's about to take his own life, if there's a change in his manner or he gives an announcement, then that would be then the threshold to use the long-range taser. To try and save his life.
He always said he didn't believe me in terms of the messages that I was putting out.
You still have a future. Give yourself up now.
When he was told of the fact that Christopher wasn't a police officer, he was quite shocked at that.
As armed officers surrounded Moat and police negotiators spoke with him, events then took a turn to the bizarre.
The footballer Paul Gascoigne has arrived.
Paul Gascoigne has arrived.
Paul Gascoigne has arrived.
I've got a jacket, I've got a dressing gown, I've got some chicken, I've got some bread, I've got a can of lager, I've got a fishing rod.
That's the point where it almost seemed like this entire situation had become totally ridiculous.
Just all I want to shout is, Murray, it's Gaza, where you? And I guarantee he will shout his name out. I'm here.
He turned up at the cordon and was wanting to speak with Moat and resolve issues.
The former footballer wasn't allowed anywhere near him.
He will not shoot me.
Now, pouring with rain, an exhausted man surrounded by 20 armed police officers.
That Friday was a really grim day. It was rainy, it was cold, and we were stood in this field a few hundred feet from where Moat was, trying to listen to the negotiation between the police and him. And it went on for hours and hours.
He wanted to bring this to an end, and from the comments he made, it was apparent that it was going to end there and then.
He moved the gun from under his chin to his temple and began talking in final words. And that was the tipping point to say, right, We need to try and save his life now. There is no time.
Police marksmen opened fire with the ex-rep taser.
When I heard the shout over the radio of shots fired, it was one of those heart-dropping moments where you just think, my God.
It's 1:28 in the morning. There's just been one single sound of gunfire, followed by the shouts of men saying, "Get that gun down, get that gun down, get that gun down." An ambulance has now been sent to the scene. The doors are open and they are moving somebody into the back of it.
2 o'clock Saturday morning, Britain's biggest manhunt in recent history is over.
We can confirm that a shot or shots have been fired, and it is believed the suspect has a gunshot wound.
It's just outside accident and emergency now here at Newcastle. General armed police surrounding it.
When someone shoots themselves in the head with a shotgun, I don't think you need to be a consultant surgeon to work out that the chances of survival are not good.
He was pronounced dead at 2:20 this morning.
The taser hadn't worked. Moat had killed himself. He'd escaped the police and justice for the final time.
When Moat shot himself, another life had been lost. We wanted to give Moat the opportunity to give us his account of what had happened and also answers for the family.
To me, he was a coward. He took his own life. He needed to answer. Where's the justice in that?
Moat should have been stood in the dock as well, facing justice, and I'm convinced he would have never seen the light of day again.
These were the most horrific crimes. He couldn't have perpetrated those offences without the assistance of Ness and Awan.
There is very little I look at in reflection to say would be done differently if that rolled out today. It was a really professional policing operation by Northumbria Police.
I think it changed me. No, I don't think it did. It was tiring, it was exhausting. You know, I don't think any of us slept for a week.
The threat that was actually posed by Moat, it presented a challenge that I hope I never have to face again. It's highly pressurised for me as an individual. Tragic. It's a week I'll never forget.
Well, for the rest of my service, I carried a map of Craigside in my day book, and I carried that with me to remind me of the fact that people were working 24 hours, 36 hours, all with one common goal of bringing this murderer to justice.
We focused on Raoul Moat, we focused on the manhunt, but it seemed to me is that we forgot about the most important people here were the victims.
The lasting effect for me is that I don't feel Christopher Brown has been remembered, and at some point Christopher seems to have been forgotten about.
8 terrifying and violent days that shook Britain. 10 years on, there are still some who see Raoul Moat's twisted actions as some kind of an admirable defiance of authority. He's a modern-day folk hero battling the powers that be. But for most people, he was a murderer, killed the innocent, ruined lives, and left a trail of devastation in his wake.
For us, every year comes and goes. We don't celebrate, obviously, but we think. Of course, it brings back memories, but I try not to think of the bad. I just try and think of the good.
Do you think people don't remember Christopher, but they do remember Moat?
Yeah, I think so, because the first name that comes to everyone's mind when they hear about it is Moat. And it's a shame, because Christopher seems to have been forgotten about quite a bit over the years.
I was his mum, so, you know, it's like all these mums that have lost children, you don't want it forgotten.
And you can watch gripping crime documentary The Real Manhunt, The Night Stalker over on ITV Hub and ad-free on BritBox now.